Hi, I'm Ish Ruiz, and this is Bowie. Welcome to our classroom. In this video, I'll be discussing how people develop morally. We'll specifically look at Kohlberg's stages of moral development. Its ethics, brah. Lawrence Kohlberg was a psychologist that developed a theory about how people grow in their capacity to make moral choices. While some scholars like Jean Piaget develop theories about how people develop cognitively, that is, their ability to think and reason, Lawrence wanted to focus on people's moral judgment, the process by which they make moral decisions. For Kohlberg, moral development took place in 6 stages, but the 6 stages were classified into 3 main categories. Those are the pre-conventional stages, the conventional stages, and the post-conventional stages. The first 2 are the pre-conventional stages. 3 and 4 are the conventional stages. 5 and 6 are the post-conventional stages. What follows is an explanation of the stages along with some helpful examples. Let's start with the pre-conventional stages. The first of the pre-conventional stages of Kohlberg's stages of moral development. Say that 5 times fast.
The first of the pre-conventional stages of Kohlberg's stages of moral development. The first of the pre-conventional stages of Kohlberg's stages of moral development. The first of the pre-conventional stages of Kohlberg's stages of moral development. The first of the pre-conventional stages of Kohlberg's stages of moral development.
I'm done. The first of the pre-conventional stages is reward and punishment. In this stage, people would make X moral decision based on the external reward they would acquire, or they would make X decision in order to avoid the punishment they would otherwise get if they do not make it. This stage is all about external rewards or punishments. I do the right thing because I want something out of it, or I do the right thing because I don't want to get punished if I don't do it. Let's illustrate with an example. The question is, why do you want to do well in school? Well, I want to do well in school because then I get good grades and that's all I want. So my abuela will give me $20 and then my mom is not going to take away my phone because she'll take away my phone if I get bad grades. Here are more examples. I pay my parking meter so I don't get a ticket. I comply with dress code so I don't get detention. I cheated on the homework because I wanted a good grade. Now, while stage 1 people are able to calculate how to get a reward or avoid a punishment, it's still a pretty low level of morality. I mean, think about it. Even a dog is in a reward and punishment stage. That's right. Your dog doesn't like to sit and roll over. It's doing it for a treat. And your dog doesn't just like to poo on the grass, it just won't do it in the carpet because it will get yelled at. But more seriously, sometimes it is painful or less rewarding to make the right decision, to do the right thing. So stage 1 has pretty low moral standards. The second stage of moral development is me first. In this stage, people would do moral decisions based on what benefits them. It is distinguished from the reward and punishment stage because it doesn't necessarily rely on an external reward or an external punishment. People on stage 2 might internally enjoy or feel good when they make that decision. To illustrate with an example. Why should you do well in school? Yeah, I want to do good in school because I want to look at myself in the mirror and feel good about myself. Like, you know, you good, bro, you good. Here are more examples. I give $1 to the homeless person because it makes me feel good. I help my friends because I want friends so I'm not lonely. I did community service because it makes me feel good about myself. Now, while stage 2 has a higher sense of self, it still has some of the limitations from stage 1. Sometimes doing the right thing does not feel good and is not that pleasurable or beneficial to you. Moral decisions often demand that you consider the other. Sorry, but the world doesn't revolve around you or your feelings. What's in common in the pre-conventional stages is that these individuals are focused inward, only on themselves. They care about rewards they'll receive or what's good for them. It's a primarily individualistic category. Now let's check out the conventional stages. The third stage of moral development is called pleasing others. In this stage, a moral decision is deemed to be correct if it causes other people to be happy, or if it causes them pleasure or joy. Let's look at an example. Why should you do well in school? Yeah, I want to do good in school because my mom and my dad will work real hard and my teachers work real hard, and so I want to make them proud. I want to make them happy. Here are more examples. I smoked because my friends wanted me to. I helped her in her homework assignment because I want her to like me. I helped my teacher because I want him to like me. This stage is all about pleasing others. Now, the third stage does a good job at considering other people's needs and wants, but it's problematic if that becomes the only criteria for moral decision making. Other people are sometimes wrong, and stage 3 people often fall susceptible to peer pressure. They might do bad things because others want them to do it. The fourth stage is the letter of the law stage. In this stage, people have evolved to recognize a higher authority, a law, but they are bound to following the law exactly as it is written or stated. That's why it's called the letter of the law, because they follow the letter of the law as it is written. Let's look at an example. Why should you do well in school? Yeah, I want to do good in school because I'm a student. It's my job to be a student, and the academic handbook says that students gotta do good in school, so that's why I want to do good in school. Here are more examples. I didn't cheat because it's against the rules. I didn't go above the speed limit because that's the law. I didn't hire the undocumented worker because it's illegal to do so. I took a life because I was following orders. This is your classical rule follower. They want to do everything by the book. Stage 4 recognizes structures necessary for society to operate, but they struggle recognizing that the structures and the law are sometimes unjust. Here you have people doing the wrong thing just because they were following orders. So while stage 4 is an evolution from stage 3, it still has some ways to go. As a development from the pre-conventional stages, which focus on the individual, the conventional stages reflect an awareness of the other, of society. Finally, we have the post-conventional stages. The fifth stage is the spirit of the law. In this stage, people have evolved not only to recognize the law, but to understand the reason behind the law, its spirit, and most importantly, they would only follow the law if they consider the spirit of the law to be morally correct. Conversely, these people are able to rebel against an unjust law if they consider its spirit to be unethical. Let's look at an example.
What should you do well in school?
Yeah, I want to do good in school because I understand what school's for. Like all these grades and all these rules, they're meant to help me learn and help me grow so that I can transform the world. And I value education and I value growth. So that's why I want to do good in school. Here are more examples. I understand why I have to pay taxes, so I'm going to do it. I understand why there are laws against sexual harassment, so I'm going to protect women and other vulnerable people. I will trespass into a government facility to protest nuclear weapons because nuclear weapons are wrong. People who follow the spirit of the law are able to understand the abstract principle behind the law. They can evaluate its moral value, and then they can comply with or rebel against the law. Stage 5 is great because it can recognize the principles behind the structures, behind the laws. But stage 5 people still need a law to guide them in some direction before they discern whether the law is correct or not. So they might struggle with decisions for which there is no guideline. Sometimes moral problems are new. Whether there should be artificial intelligence is not a question that has always existed because computers haven't always existed. So a stage 5 person might struggle with a new moral question for which there is no previous guideline. Finally, the sixth stage, the highest stage in Kohlberg's stages of moral development. Say that 5 times fast.
The highest stage of Kohlberg's stages of moral development. The highest stage of Kohlberg's stages of moral development. The highest stage of Kohlberg's stages of moral development.
I'm done. The highest stage of Kohlberg's stages of moral development is pure abstract principle. According to Kohlberg, these people are so moral they don't even need the law. They simply follow abstract principles whenever and wherever. Their decisions are based on principles such as love, honesty, courage, equality, fairness. They're so evolved that they see every decision as having an intrinsic connection to an abstract principle. They recognize the principle and they go for it.
Let's illustrate with an example. What should you do well in school?
Yeah, I want to do good in school because I really love learning. I love school. I love all of it. It's the most important thing. You know, I want to change the world, so I want to learn. Even if I didn't have to go to school, I'll still go to school. Here are more examples. I will join the Black Lives Matter protests because it is the most loving and just thing to do. I will tell LGBTQ+ people that they belong here because that is loving and courageous. I will tell someone that what they did to me offended me because that's honest. People on stage 6 are so morally attuned that they can simply recognize these abstract principles in every decision they make, and therefore they always make the principled thing, aka the moral thing. Stage 6 people understand the substance of morality, and they know what morality is made of. Because Kohlberg considered stage 6 to be the highest anyone could ever be, it is the most perfect stage. Any critiques of stage 6 are really a critique of Kohlberg's whole theory. Kohlberg considered the post-conventional stages to be the more desirable ones because they move beyond individualistic or even social concerns and focus on abstract principle. Kohlberg valued abstraction as something to be desired, as something of a higher order. And so when a person was capable of making decisions based in abstract principle only, that would be a person who is fully developed, morally speaking. Now, one could raise several valid critiques of Kohlberg. First, just because someone is able to theorize about a particular moral decision based on a specific stage, let's suppose it's stage 6, the principle of it, it doesn't automatically follow that they would actually act that way when rubber meets the road, when they're confronted with that decision. Second, Kohlberg lived a long time ago and was influenced by some outdated views on women. When he tested out his theory, he noted that many girls would be at a lower stage than boys, so he naively concluded that perhaps girls were incapable of reaching a higher level of moral development. And these viewpoints gave birth to a new form of feminist ethics called the ethics of care. Carol Gilligan, a colleague of Kohlberg, considered that caring for others, Kohlberg's stage 3, was actually of a higher order than abstract principle. Therefore, Gilligan criticizes Kohlberg's theory as too male-centered, and she says that it ignores a more female perspective that perhaps sees interpersonal relationships of a higher order, morally speaking, than abstract principle. She's basically asking, who made principle king? Third, it is possible that different people make different types of decisions in different levels. Perhaps I pay my parking meter because I don't want a ticket. Stage 1. But maybe I can be peer pressured when hanging out with friends. Stage 3. But perhaps I'm willing to be extremely loving towards my students. Stage 6. So the question I like to ask is this: where do most of your most important decisions fall on? Regardless of the critiques to Kohlberg's theory, it serves as an important tool for self-evaluation. It is important for people to think about the process by which they make moral choices. Are my choices primarily motivated by an individualistic pursuit? Or do I care more about society? Or do I have a set of principles that I base my decisions on? Having that awareness of which stage my decisions fall on puts me in a place of freedom, because it allows me to grow in my future decision making, and it allows me to become the moral person I actually want to be. Thanks for watching my video. My next set of videos is going to discuss different ethical methodologies. That is, the set of criteria or standards that we use to evaluate whether something is moral or immoral. So if you like these videos, make sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned, and I'll see you around.